This is a panel discussion. You have been introduced to the panelists. I will not take much time. When I come to each of them, I will also again talk about them individually. But you all know what we are talking about. You have just gone through the Bangladesh country presentation, which I tried to make sense of it. That is a new day. It's a kind of old country, but new systems are being in place. This is a time we are trying to brand Bangladesh as a nation for foreign investors as a safe haven for investment, which is meaningful in terms of return, and which will actually also give you access to good governance, to good practices, access to a system where you will produce your things. We have good connectivity. I've talked about all those. Now, the headline of this panel is Overarching Economic Growth and Investment Opportunities. So directly coming first, I am asking my first question, our Executive Chairman of BIDA and Bangladesh Investment Development Authority and Bangladesh Economic Zone Authority. He is here. He is in the rank of State Minister. You have all heard him already. He has done, recently he has done a great investment summit that took place in Dhaka. So this question is basically to ask him, can you share with us some prospects, based on the recently concluded summit in Dhaka? Mr. Ashik Chaudhary.
Thank you. The investment summit was focused on a couple of things. One, we really tried to change the general narrative about Bangladesh. This has happened to me before. The clients I have entertained while in banking industry, a lot of times when investors or trade partners, they physically visit Bangladesh, their view about Bangladesh changes quite dramatically, because it's very hard to do a desktop research and understand what Bangladesh is genuinely about. So we really wanted to change that narrative, and we invited as many people as we could. As you all know who have been in the industry before, summits don't necessarily end up people getting very emotional and writing up checks and then just investing in a country or doing deals, but it's more around creating a pipeline, a genuine conversation, or part of starting a journey from there, which they could potentially end up investing or doing trade with Bangladesh. So from that point of view, we are quite happy with the turnout. And the other piece that we also try to do is effectively focus on a few industries rather than doing a wide brush of everything in Bangladesh is amazing and every industry in Bangladesh you can invest into. So there were 5 specific themes that we ran our summit on. It was textile and garments, agro-processing, digital economy, healthcare, and the 4th one was renewable energy. How do I forget renewable energy? So these are the 5 sort of overarching themes that we really wanted to focus on, because these are the areas where we think we have economic potential. At the same time, we also have factors of production advantage so that businesses can come and do business there. So overall, we're quite happy with the outcome, and we would really like to nurture our pipeline from there on and continue the conversation so that we can help foreign investors land in Bangladesh better way.
Very, very well said. So, a lot of energy is there now in Dhaka, in Bangladesh, So after the investment summit, as he just now explained, government has kind of, instead of, focusing on every area, they have pinpointed on certain areas where, he has also mentioned the names. Now, coming to another panelist, is Mr. Salim Rahman, Managing Director of KDS Group. It's a major industrial group. It's rooted in textile, but, they're diversing across different sectors, So I would like to ask about, from him, how is he viewing, the new climate as an investor their local investor, who has global connections also. There are global uncertainties also are prevailing, of course, So, the whole thing is to be resilient. The whole idea behind the student-led protest was about country. Resilience has been shown, and people have kind of, said yes to reforms, to changes. So in a situation like this, where a lot of fluidity are also there, nothing has yet been, has settled down, but things are going on in the right direction. Overall, as the managing director of such a large group, I'm sure, he also, and we as Bangladeshis also, we are looking for long-term value creation. So I would like to hear from him, what does he think about this long-term value creation, resilience, the change that has happened, what is he believing in, seeing as a globally connected, big business houses, industrial groups leader.
Thank you so much. Appreciate for the opportunity. We are purely a manufacturing company in RMG, textile, logistics, and steel. Resiliency, basically, to me, there are two aspects of it. One is economic, another is environment. When we're manufacturing this thing, and in economy side, we know what's going on. There's a lot of uncertainties. It seemed like I'm back in just pre-COVID time. We didn't know what's going on, and since the tariff thing started, it seems like the same thing. So what we have done, and we have done that for last during the COVID time also, we started bringing in certain diversification in supply chain. Diversification of critical material, not where we only source from. We started looking at options. For example, I would say for our textile, almost 90% of our cotton used to be imported from India. Now we started looking at Australian cotton, etc., and we've been doing it for the last 2 years, where 95% has gone down to pretty much 50%. Rest 45% has been replaced by Australian and US cotton. Digitization played a big role. I think digitization enables, drives agility. For us, the ERP, for an example, the ERP we run in our RMG, it's our own build. And to test that, I think we had a lot of success. We integrated that ERP. I don't know if you're from RMG, you would know this called a world-class software called Fast React. That is for the planning tool. Our ERP has been integrated with that, and also GSD, which calculates the SMV. So integration of our own ERP with all this world-class software, that drives us quite a bit. And vertical integration, as I said, I mean, in RMG, again, I come from RMG, though we do steel and all. But right now, I think, just to put it, zipper would be the only one we don't produce. In terms of, it could be buttons, it could be a small label, washing, etc. So we started doing this vertical integration just to protect ourselves from any of the anything we see challenging happening in saying. So these are the few things we've been doing lately.
No. Thank you, Mr. Rahman. Thank you. Now I'll go to Mr. Charles Whiteley. I don't know if I pronounced the name right. Yes. Yeah, so he's the head of South Asia Division of European External Action Service. He has also spoken in the morning at the starting plenary. Now, the question to you is, from the EU's perspective, how do you assess the current state of economic relations with Bangladesh? And if I go a little deeper, like given your deep understanding of the geopolitical dynamics in South Asia and Bangladesh's evolving position within that landscape, how do you view the long-term economic growth prospects of this country.
Thank you, Moderator. I'm sorry to inflict myself on the audience again, but I would say, we've had a very predictable relationship with Bangladesh on the trading front for decades now. The bedrock of that has been everything but arms, the duty-free, quota-free access that Bangladesh has as an LDC to the EU market. And that's driven, to mutual benefit, real expansion in exports. So it's up from $2.4 billion 20 years ago to $24 billion today. But it's very much dominated, as we've discussed, by RMG. And I would say there's huge potential to develop other sectors, but we need to maintain the predictability of the relationship. And we also need, and that's of course what BEDA is working very hard to do, to attract more European investment, because our FDI stock is only $2 billion, which is a fraction of the kind of investment we have in countries like Vietnam. So getting the mix right to attract European business through events like this and through the right policies, through ease of doing business measures, I think can really help to also boost the diversification of exports. And what I've seen in my time working in Bangladesh, I was there first of all in 2005 to 9, and then again in 2021 to 24. The EU has changed its approach. 20 years ago, we funded lots and lots of trade-related technical assistance where we thought we as outsiders could stimulate new export markets and new products, and did that through TRTA. And I think we learned that 9 times out of 10, it doesn't work. It needs to come from within the country, from business itself, from the entrepreneurs themselves, and from the right sort of policy mixes from the government. So I think we've learned from that. And I would say there have been good experiences as well. For example, I was talking earlier about touring dozens of shrimp farms 20 years ago in Bangladesh when we had a nitrofuran contamination issue, where we supported Bangladesh to decontaminate the system and then boost its exports to the EU. So that was a better example of where we've done TRTA. But I think now we need to focus on the future, and I think later on you'll come on to a question about graduation and LDC. But predictability is essential, getting the ease of business right is essential, and I think all the ingredients are there, as I mentioned during the opening speech.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Whiteley. Now I'll go to the next panelist, Mr. David Yonkers. Yeah, so he's the co-founder and CEO of Bright River. It is a technology company where it sits at the intersection of technology and creative services. And Bangladesh, we are promoting it as a digital hub for that region. It has all the potentials, and he has already interacted with Bangladeshi tech companies. So would like to say, it's a direct question, like what opportunities do you see as an expert in that area for foreign companies? What opportunities exist do you see as per your view for foreign companies to partner with Bangladeshi firms in the tech sector to drive innovation and mutual growth?
Okay, well, let me start with briefly explaining what we do. So we are in a very specific niche within the digital services industry. We create visual content for e-commerce companies and real estate companies. And we do so in what we refer to as a hybrid manner. So there's a lot of technology that we develop and apply, artificial intelligence for starters. But what we see is that particularly the use of AI asks for a hybrid setup, and that's basically where all the opportunities that Bangladesh offers come in. A hybrid setup, especially in our field, the visual content domain, means that a lot of technology can be used, but the human eye of professional designers is needed for quality control and correction, as well as final creative touch-up. And for that, you need talent, and talent is what brings us to Bangladesh. And I would like to emphasize that it's not, let's say, the hard criteria of talent that we look for, so just the numbers and the level of education, for example, but also the soft criteria. And what I mean with that particularly is the ambition, the dedication, the commitment of the very young, talented people that we employ, that really stands out if you compare it to other companies. So we've been in Bangladesh since 2007. We've seen a lot of development. We've seen a lot of improvement. So we think that Bangladesh is on a great track. Obviously, the changes during last summer also brought some uncertainties and insecurities. But so far, from our experience, the changes have been for the better. And we look to the future with great confidence in Bangladesh. If I'm asked about opportunities, I would say that there is a room to be even a stronger front runner when it comes to education, when it comes to technological entry levels of people joining the workforce. Particularly in fields like prompt engineering for applying AI in coding, or in our particular industry in the field of computer-generated imagery and 3D technology. So there's still quite some room for development.
But no, very, very well said. I didn't know that you were there since 2007. Just one, supplementary question. So, access to any skilled talent pool is very crucial for technology side, on the digital side, digital sector. So, what has been your experience with the young talent pool of Bangladesh in technology area?
So the internet connectivity, you mean?
No. The quality of the talent pool.
The quality of the talent pool is outstanding, and obviously companies like us need to take their responsibility and provide additional education and training on the job as well as prior to actually starting on the job. But having said that, I think the entry levels are truly competitive to other very common offshore outsourcing locations for IT services, such as India, for example. No. We always say that if people in, for example, Europe are capable of performing a certain role, there is absolutely no reason why people in Bangladesh would not be capable to do that as well.
No, thank you. Now, just one thing. Recently, I interacted with the second largest, fintech company of China. And I visited Shenzhen also, So they are working in Dhaka. They are working with the talent pool of our country on the development of AI-based, and machine learning AI, those tools for financial sector. And the company's CEO told me that, he has never come across a more brilliant set of young minds. So, that syncs well with, what Mr. David Jonkers has said. That is very pleasing to know. Pleasing to know for the tech companies or tech enthusiasts, the entrepreneurs, Dhaka can be a good hub for setting up your technology business. So now we'll go to the online guest with us, Mr. Zahidi Sattar. He's chairman of PRI, Policy Research Institute, So I will ask Mr. Sattar that, as a leading, policy makers or policy level thinker, you have already heard that macroeconomic trajectory is looking green. In most of the areas, the equity rate, which is secondary market, there has been a lot of reforms taken place. So it is going to go up. On the interest rate side, this is very much business-friendly interest rate. Not really that high as it could have gone to. We have seen money market, even the rate reached, call money rate, even at one point reached 100%. And now it is all central bank is managing it so nicely that, there is, interbank rate is also hovering around 10%. On the inflation side, on the foreign exchange side, on the reserve side, a lot of macroeconomic stability, sir, is happening. So as a leading policy level thinker, what is your message from the macroeconomic, trajectory, keeping that in mind in light of the domestic reforms and economic side reforms? What is your message to the foreign investors?
Okay, thank you. You've given a good idea of all the macroeconomic metrics that tell us the signal is stability, macroeconomic stability. Now, as you know, Bangladesh used to be a poster child of macroeconomic stability for almost 20 years, starting from the 21st century. That also came with rising and stable growth. But all this, was disrupted first by the COVID disruption, and next, the imbalance in the external accounts starting from 2022 after the Russia-Ukraine war. Now, what you have just mentioned tells us that the economy, after it suffered some mismanagement on the external sector, as well as the monetary sector, the macroeconomic indicators are now stabilizing. They are stabilizing. As you mentioned, balance of payments in the first place is now pretty much in balance. We've got current account deficit, which is within the sustainable level of about 1% of GDP. This foreign exchange reserves have stabilized. The exchange rate has stabilized. Now, of course, there is an issue of more flexibility. The IMF, for instance, would like to see a bit more flexibility in the exchange rate. But because we also have a problem of inflation that has been persistent and only moderating slightly, going down slightly. So we have to face that. It's not easy to let the exchange rate go, because if it overshoots, then it feeds into the inflation problem. But on the other hand, we were also expecting IMF to conclude its mission and signal the release of the two tranches that they have been holding up. The two tranches are worth $1.3 billion. And with that is also the release of World Bank and ADB budget support. So IMF has not given a signal yet. They've finished their mission, they're going back, and they will have the discussions. And I'm hoping that once that release takes place, we will see some expansion of reserves. And here again, we have to see that there are two issues that, two sides of the real economy that are doing well. Export performance continues to be robust. Export growth is more than 10% for the last 8-9 months. And remittance has been growing even faster, at about 25%. And we expect remittances of about $30 billion. So with $50 billion of exports and $30 billion of remittance, we have $80 billion and another $10-12 billion from multilateral institutions. We've got a foreign exchange inflow of $90+ billion. And on the external debt side, Bangladesh's external debt is pretty much within stable range. There is regular debt sustainability analysis by the IMF and the World Bank. The latest one says Bangladesh has medium debt carrying capacity with low risk of debt distress. So all those are good indications that we are still, in terms of external debt, external public debt, 90% of our $80 billion of external debt is concessional still, and with an average interest rate of 1.3%, with a repayment period of 23 years plus. So on the external side, the prospect looks still good. The macroeconomic stability is something that is coming right now, and now is the time for resumed growth. That means the growth trajectory on which we were positioned until about 2019, pre-COVID, that trajectory has to be resumed now. There are a lot of economic reforms that are in place right now, but we do have to have a very prudent fiscal budget. Fiscal support to the monetary management has to be there, because we still have inflation to be brought down. So this time, the expectation is the budget is going to be frugal. It's probably not going to be an incremental budget. But the more important thing is what about financing of the fiscal deficit? Fiscal deficit this time, I would expect something about 4% of GDP, which has been actually the record. For 20 plus years, the record has been about 4% of GDP in fiscal deficit. So this time also we expect that to happen. And we are looking at a situation where the economy can resume its higher growth trajectory. Though World Bank, IMF, and even I think it was Moody's that lowered their growth rate projections. But even a growth rate of 4.5%, or between 4.5% to 5% for Bangladesh is a reasonably good growth performance, given that the country went through some political upheaval in the middle of 2024. So that is what I can say about the macroeconomic picture, which basically is moving towards stability, and stability is what is required to get growth. And Bangladesh trade is one thing that Bangladesh has always been relying on for its growth performance. Trade has been a harbinger, a sort of handmaiden of Bangladesh's development. That is where we need some work in terms of trade policy. Trade policy in Bangladesh has been dualistic. We've got one trade policy which is perfect, which is a free trade channel for the ready-made garment sector. The ready-made garment sector's performance over time is nothing short of miraculous. Bangladesh,
of course.
Bangladesh did not grow cotton. Bangladesh was not a big textile industry. Yet, it was the labor-intensive component of the ready-made garment making process that attracted Bangladesh. And Bangladesh started off this garment sector as an export-oriented sector. It's not something which was an import substituting sector which later on became export. No, it was initially an export-oriented sector, and we exported not to underdeveloped countries, low-income countries. We started exporting to the rich countries of the world, Europe and North America. And we still continue to do that. We have reached a level where we are now number 2 single country exporter to the world market. This trajectory, this trend is likely to continue, although the world has been disrupted recently by some tariff turbulence, I would say. But even under those circumstances, we see that Bangladesh's prospect for ready-made garment exports continues to be strong because of the redirection of orders, redirection of investments. But we have faced a problem in diversifying our export basket. That is one challenge that we do have, and that is something that the current interim government is putting a lot of focus on. Now, let me say one thing why we are not being able to really get any traction on this diversifying our export basket. One of the main reasons, I think, quite apart from the logistics issues and all those other, administrative issues, trade facilitation issues, which apply to all imports and all exports. When it comes to export diversification, the main barrier right now I see is the current trade regime, which is, as I said, dualistic. There's one regime for ready-made garment, which is perfect, but there is another regime for all other exports. And that is where the regime is inherently biased against exporting for non-garment products. And this is where...
Sir, we are running little short of time if you conclude.
I will conclude this point. We need the rationalization of tariff protection so that the domestic market does not generate more profitability than exporting, because the profit margins in exports are very razor thin. So we need to balance out the incentive for export. The policy should be favoring exports as well as, and similarly, the domestic market. And that is one challenge that we have going forward. Thank you.
No. Thank you, sir, for leaving us with hopes, that, macroeconomic stability is back. Of course, RMG sector is doing great, as you said, it's doing amazing, phenomenally good. And also, most of the indicators are positive. The balance of payment is also looking much better than it was before. The financial account deficit now is in surplus. All the good signs are there. Inflation has been curbed. Exchange rate volatility has come down. So thank you. Just for information, last devaluation was only 1.7% dollar taka rate, which is phenomenally, praiseworthy. Of the last, for last 6 months, there has been only 1.7% devaluation has happened. So that is a good thing. No devaluation after January
Can
of this
you
year.
hear me?
Hello?
Hello?
Sorry, was that a question to me?
No. Just I'm summarizing what you're saying, that no devaluation also has happened after January this year. Now, I'm going back to our original, the panelists who are physically present here. Thank you, Mr. Zaidi Satta, for being with us. But, to go back to, we have around, 10 minutes of time. I will request our, panelists to be short and crisp in their answers. I will go back to the chief guest here, Mr. Ashik Chaudhary. The simple question is that, a lot of reforms are happening. Regulatory reforms are there, reforms in different sectors are there. The whole goal is to attract, foreign people or attract foreign entities, corporations to come there and use the leverage what Bangladesh has to offer to you and to grow your own business. So we also need diversification. So it's about investors' confidence. So you are in charge of, FDI. You are in charge of, ambassador to the world for the economy. Now, reforms, as I'm coming back to the question actually, so there are many reforms are happening. Ultimately, we need simplification. When we talk about FDI, when we talk about foreign investment in the form of FDI or portfolio investment in the secondary market. So what is your view? We are going towards transparency. Of course, you are trying your best to build efficiency. So, within the change of the reforms that is happening, what is your view? Are you in the right direction? What is your message to this audience here? You are kind of spearheading a lot of reforms, lot of changes. Ultimately, you are trying to simplify also. So I mean to say that, what is your core message to the investors to boost their confidence?
Yes, so the core message has not changed much. As I said, in my speech, we see ourselves as potentially the next global manufacturing hub, a smaller version of China. And as we understand, there are things that need to be improved, but it's been made public. The things that we are planning to improve is actually on our LinkedIn handle. Please go and feel free to download and hold us accountable for it. But we do intend to go through each of them properly. So it is not a perfect country, but it is a country that's moving in the right direction with a lot of enthusiasm from the youth. So that would be my pitch to the world. Thank you.
Now I'm opening the floor to the audience here. You can ask any question if you have to the panelists here. Sorry, the online is not functioning. The joining through Zoom or Team is not really functioning well. So, and also we are running little short of time. So any question if you may have. But I can see another friend of mine, personal friend also for a long time, Mr. Ahsan Khan, the chairman of Pran Group of Bangladesh, one of the largest conglomerates there, who have reached around $4 billion of annual sales. If I'm not wrong, also Citibank is a big financer to Pran Group, and as I said, personal friend. He speaks very well, and he is known to many of you. He exports to many countries, Bangladeshi products. He's a large conglomerate, anything that a house you can see or, see in a house. Starting from furniture to whatnot, is produced by Pran. They are also into agro business and food processing. So, Mr. Hasan Khan, thank you. Thank you, Hasan Bhai. Seeing you is a pleasure. What is your message? You are holding an investment summit here to the European Union and to your counterparts and friends in Europe.
First of all, thank you very much. My congratulations to everybody for arranging this program. It's the second time in a row. Bangladesh will continue to do very well, and I think our destination has been Europe. Europe has been a strong supporter to Bangladesh for everything, for our markets and as a joint partners. We are finding great business prospects. But last week, I had a wonderful experience where Dutch were represented very well in Bangladesh in the agri-processing sector. So I feel that going forward, many Dutch companies will find it extremely interesting for them to do more business in Bangladesh. We will continue to come to Europe for multi-category of products. People know Bangladesh only for the ready-made garment sector, but our job is to bring Bangladeshi product across many categories of products that is there to offer. At the same time, we are here to do business, and it will be a bilateral business. It will not be one-way street where we keep on exporting to Netherlands, but now we are at the point where we can buy a lot of knowledge, technology, joint venture prospects, doing business with a lot of agribusiness companies from the Netherlands and also from Western Europe. So I would really welcome everybody to come and explore Bangladesh more and more. And I feel that Bangladesh will continue to climb upwards in days to come. And my compliments to each one of them.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Any question, anyone, to the panelists here?
Not really, Arifin Bhai.
Okay, no. Thank you, Hasan Bhai. Thank you so much. The line was also good. People heard you. Thank you for joining us. Thank you. Now I'm opening the... Now the time is also, over. So directly, thank you for our panelists who joined us online. Now opening the floor to the physical, audience present here. Any question? If you don't have, we can wrap up. Any question to any panelists here? Okay, I think it's time to wrap up. Thank you, honorable panelists, for joining us. Let us look forward to broader economic collaboration, broader economic opportunities for you. And, right kind of reforms are happening. Right kind of will to win is there. This is a transparent Bangladesh. This is now a new Bangladesh. We need your help and support. Thank you for joining us. Thank you. Let's look forward to a brighter future. Thank you.